Hey guys, it's Graham over at therecordingrevolution.com. Hope your day is amazing so far. Today is week 5 of the One Song, 1 Month challenge. And I can't even believe it because I feel like we just started this thing. But it was January 1st, we kicked it off. And the whole point of this is to challenge you and I to just start writing music and finish something in a month, because I know how fast a year is going to fly, and I know you want to make music, and I know you want to get your stuff down in your system, and you want to get it recorded, and you want to get it finished. And if you've been doing these videos with us every week, hopefully you've been doing that. Hopefully it's been helpful to you. I know I've had a lot of fun, and my song's almost done, and so I'm really grateful to be a part of it with you guys. So today we're going to finish up the whole process with basic mixing, okay? We're going to just look at a couple things. We're going to look at how to clean up your mix, get some of the mud out of your mix. We're going to look at how to conserve your computer power when you're using sort of CPU intensive plugins, and we're going to look at how to get a real rough master and just take advantage of some of the plugins on your master fader. So let's jump into Pro Tools. We'll take a look. I hope this is helpful to you, and I hopefully will be able to hear some of your songs here when we're all done. All right, let's take a look. Alright guys, here we are in Pro Tools in my session, and what I want to do is show you some real quick, really helpful tips to get your mixes happening faster, okay? And the first thing I always tell people is use your high pass filter, okay? I'll show you exactly what that is and it'll make sense. The short of it is, most of the instruments you record, other than bass guitar, kick drum, maybe some other low-end instruments, they have a wide frequency range that you don't necessarily need all the low end of, okay? Your acoustic guitar, your vocals, we're going to just cut out a lot of the low end, because in a mix, you're not going to hear that low end as much as maybe you would by itself, and you don't need to hear it because you have a bass guitar, you have some synths way down there that maybe are filling out those low frequencies. So it's just actually a waste of your headroom or volume, and it's going to muddy up your mix, and it's going to fight with the bass and those low instruments. So let's get rid of it, man. Let's use a low cut. I'll show you what I mean. Let's flip over to the mix window and let's find, let's see, our acoustic guitars. We've got 2 here. They're doubled. I got them soloed. You can hear them by themselves. And they sound fine. But in context with the mix, the subtle thing here is we're going to get rid of a lot of the low frequencies, and as you apply that to all your other tracks, it's really going to free up some headroom. So go up to the top wherever you have an open plug-in slot, choose plug-in EQ, and you can use any EQ. I like to use the ones from Digidesign, and let's just grab the 4-band EQ3. Right up here you see HPF, high pass filter. It is the exact same thing as a low cut filter. It cuts the lows and lets the highs pass through, hence the name high pass. So what I'm going to do is free up one of these bands here by unmarking those, and that lets me see these filters. I'm going to choose the low cut or the high pass, and I'm going to just turn up the octave so it makes it a steeper slope, and you just grab the frequency knob and click and drag up or back, or you can just grab the gray ball here and drag it to the right, either one. And what this does is just cutting all these frequencies below 100 or all the frequencies below 300. It's just getting rid of it. So let's take a listen to one of the guitars, and we'll see what it's doing. So no low pass, or high pass, excuse me. So it gets real thin. So what I did is just dragged it all the way up to the point where it was really thin, and then dragged it back a bit. And that's pretty heavy. I mean, that's right around 300 or 200, excuse me, hertz. So that's cutting out a lot of low frequency information. But I think that'll be fine. So what I'll do is, since this is doubled with another acoustic part, and I like that EQ, I'm just going to option click and drag that plug-in to the right. And that's going to put the same plug-in on my acoustic too, because those guys are kind of a pair. It's the same thing. So now they're just a little thinner if you take a listen. There's the low frequency. So it sounds a lot thinner, but that's actually a good thing because in context with the bass, guitar, and all the other instruments, I don't want that low frequency fighting. So you want to sort of play with those on vocals, on acoustic, on electric guitar. But in the mix, it's going to sound better, I think. Let's take a quick listen.
You are the rainbow in our sky. Yes, you make everything sweet.
You can barely hear it, and in a way that's a good thing because I've taken away a lot of extra volume and freed it up for the bass and for my mix. And in the mix, I can't really tell that the guitars sound much thinner. That's very helpful, and if you start to apply that to multiple instruments, you'll sort of hear your mix clean up, and that muddiness will clean up because you've got a bass guitar down there. You don't need the acoustic filling around 100 hertz or below, okay? So that's using your high pass filter. And honestly, if you're not going to do much more EQing than that, you don't even need something like the 4-band. You could just get rid of it and do the 1-band EQ. And this will save you some horsepower because it's only 1 as opposed to 4 of these. And you would just choose, there you go, it says high pass. And you can just drag that back to, around 200, wherever we had it. And it does the same thing. All right? So that's your high pass filter. I tend to do that right away. But you want to listen to it and see what's working in your song. Then one of the things I really try to help people out with is saving horsepower on your computer, because when you start adding plugins, you're going to soak up a lot of the power. And one of the things I like to do is use a stereo bus for things like delays and reverbs. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to do a little bit of a delay on the vocals. So what I'm going to do is come over to the end. Let's see. Here's my lead vocal. Right next to it, I'm going to do Shift-Command in and create a new stereo aux input, because again I don't need to record audio to this. I'm going to call it delay, and what I'm going to do is insert a delay on it. Makes sense. I'll use the extra long delay from Digi, and what we've got here is a lot of parameters you can change, but I'm just going to show you that if you figure this out later, like this times the delay on the left and the right to eighth notes in my song, because it knows the tempo of my song is 90, so it's a perfect eighth note, which is great. So what we'll do here is you got to set an input for the delay, because we're going to send tracks to it on a bus. All right. So we find I've got an input here called delay, but I'll show you how I do this. I would pick a free stereo bus, 1314, and then my lead vocals I want to send to it. So under your sends, I just send to bus 1314. All right, and what that gives me is a little fader to see how much I want to send. So my lead vocal is going to go to the main outs like normal, but then a copy of it is going to be sent along this bus to wherever that bus ends up, and that happens to end up at my delay. Follow me? And this fader controls how much of a copy I want to send to the delay. So let's take a listen to just the vocal and the delay.
You are the rainbow in our sky. Yes, you make.
So that controls how much of the delay you're hearing. Now, what I like to do on the delay is they're both on the left and the right set to exactly what an eighth note would be, but I like to adjust one slightly faster or slower than the other, so you hear it ping pong in the back. And I also like to take a low pass filter to the delay, which does the opposite of what we were just talking about as the high pass filter. This lets the lows through but removes a lot of the highs, so it makes your vocal delay sound a little muddy and muffled, and that's cool when we mix it together.
You are the rainbow in our sky.
See? And then one thing I'll probably do is also get some feedback, so it will repeat more than just once. It'll sort of feed off into the distance in the left and the right. Let's take a listen.
You are the rainbow in our sky.